Guys, welcome back to Garvian Reacts, where we check out music related content including albums and singles. Today we have something very special. It's a little different. It's something that I haven't done before, but it was a suggestion and it was also something that I was thinking about for a while now. So this is like a new little series where I'll be checking out, well, revisiting rather, albums of the past and giving you my thoughts, opinions, and rating on them. So how this will be structured is that I'll give you my top 10 favorite track. My favorite track will be the last track that I play for you guys. I'll also give a quick run through of all the tracks on the album. And it just so happens that today is Halloween, so we'll be checking out an album that was released on Halloween 5 years ago. This is Heartbreak on a Full Moon from Chris Brown. It's a 45-track album. I'm excited to get into this, excited to share my thoughts, and I hope y'all stick around for the ride. Also, along with my top 10 favorite tracks and their ratings, I'll also throw in around 2 or 3 honorable mentions. But I just love the keypads on this track. They're so great. Also, the subject matter, the way he plays on things like police brutality, but then ties it into being like a relationship also.
Them boys, they wild, they run with the case.
I really like the lyricism.
But them boys in blue, they won't get your case. Hands up, don't shoot, ain't nobody safe. And I'm just tryna love you. I'm tryna give my heart to you. Oh yeah, man, fuck around and empty the safe. So come with me now, let's just run away. Run away. Yeah. Why, yeah. Come on. Run away. There's nobody safe. There's nobody safe. Pushing up on me and I don't like it. Like it. Oh, with your homie, I need his ID. I see the lights flashing behind me. Think of my life and what do I need? I see my life sitting beside me. Hospitalized, stuck with the ivy. No, but them boys in blue, they won't get your case. No.
Bro, the harmonies in this track, the way it works, it's a really great track. This track could have easily made my top 10 and was actually a really hard decision to leave it out, but it did in fact made an honorable mentions list. Really love this track. As I was saying earlier, the interplay of lyricism between a relationship, the turmoils of a relationship, but also police brutality, which was and is still a major topic within the US. I really like what Chris did on that. Also, the beat is really dope. As I was saying, I really like the piano pads. And another thing, it has an interpolation of a track from I think around the 80s, Fast Car. Yeah, so that was also something great to top it off with. So solid track. I'm giving that an 8 out of 10. This one was a little more on the generic side, beat wise, but the lyricism.
Sick and tired of the bullshit. You won't get another chance. You're lame, I don't really understand. Cause you know I'm a cash out with the rubber bands. I bought you everything, peanut butter bands. You was supposed to be there when I got out of jail. But you rather hop out with all of your friends.
Bro, I think Chris's performance on this track is so underrated because every time I listen to this track, I get so pissed off because it just feels like I'm in his shoe and I'm experiencing all the wrongs that this girl did to him while he was down. It's such a masterful song. Like, his performance on this track really stands out.
Going crazy, did my time, you ain't sent email. Taking else and I was trying to make you in. Ain't had no bail. You supposed to be down for your baby, baby, who you with? Girl, you slipping. I was supposed to have your heart. You just kept me in the dark. I painted pictures. I know you're lying and you're sneaking. I'm just stating facts. I'm just that dummy who believed you. Cause I love you. Not the only nigga who been through that. But I'm the only with receipts and popping tags. I was looking forward to us.
Bro, also this hook is such a good hook. And now you up on game. No, you don't see me the same. The way the writing work where see me the same. That's such good writing there.
You don't see me the same. Drugs, they numb the pain. Popping bars, easy boy, but I still having shade on my name. While I'm taking all the blame, we both messed up.
Bro, this is my favorite part.
You kinda crazy, you know that I get it. Have a little baby, you know that I did it. You did your I ain't gonna be innocent. I'm tryna be limitless. I'm tryna fuck up all the Hennessy. You know I say all my enemies. I know you want your independence. Quality over quantity. Bad right in front of me. Can't lie, baby, honestly. Like the money name. Up on game, no. You don't see me the same. Drugs, they numb the pain.
The same had to make the list somehow, so honorable mention it is. 8 out of 10, another solid track. I told y'all the reasons why I really enjoy this track. I think Chris did some wonderful things on this. Everybody Knows was also a track like Her the Same that could have made a list for the same reasons, where it was personal, but it also made me feel like I was experiencing this, which is good artistry. So Everybody Knows did not make the list, but Her the Same was a stand-in in that regard. So kind of a wild card. I don't know how much Team Breezy as a whole loves this song, but
You know I've been out here doing me, like I said I would. Every night I lay with 2 or 3. Got me feeling good. Then I want it to be over. When you told me it was over, baby, now I'm getting under somebody. All I wanted was to know love. Now these songs ain't getting no love. I'm just sitting there trying to fall and party. Baby, you made me this way. I got you to thank. I got you to thank. Baby, you made me this way. I got you to thank. 'Cause I'm not the same. Baby. Yeah, yeah. You made me this way.
bro, the faucet of flip.
Baby. Yeah, yeah. You made me this way.
9 out of 10. Why this gets a higher score, I just love that falsetto flip. I think 7th Street I had some writing credits on the track and possibly some background vocals as the track progresses. Also, I like the sarcasm of the track where it's pretty much saying like, you created the monster that I am going to be. Yeah, so it's a dope idea of a track. It's fun, it's upbeat. It's actually kind of a dark track when you really look at it, but it's presented as such a fun, upbeat track, which is good. With that said, let's just jump straight into my top 10. Remember, this is in no particular order. Starting off with Hope You Do.
Yeah. Oh, baby. Not a word around town, that boy going crazy. It's been a while since I've been out, think I'm about to with that Mercedes. And my wrist keep dripping, grain gripping, I'm doing 180. Now I used to be pimping, but how can I say this? Girl, I'm tryna rough with you. Girl, don't take no pictures, Girl, sorry if I'm slurring my words, I've been drinking, mixing that liquor. I rolled up when I woke up. I brought more if you want some. You say you don't really give a f. I really hope that you know what's up. I ain't playing. Oh nah, I ain't playing. No, when my mind's up, I just don't care at all. I just hope you pick up when it's 2 or 3. Girl, I'm way too drunk. I just don't care at all. I just just hope you pick up when it's 2 or 3. And I hope you
Hope You Do is just such a masterful R&B song. I love it. I love every aspect of this track. The beat is dope. The samples are dope. That interpolation, I think it's out for Jacquees' song actually. Well, yeah. But then there's also a classic R&B sample, which is from Donnell Jones, Where I Want to Be. So I do like the contrast there, having two interpolations, one of a old school R&B track and one of a new school R&B track, with Chris kind of being the gap between what an old school R&B is and what the new generation has become. He's kind of like that anchor of the both worlds, so that's just such a dope way to present this track. Such a dope track, and the runs he starts to do by the time the second chorus comes around, y'all see how I was just engulfed in it. So great. Really dope. This is a 10 out of 10 track for me. I have little complaints. No complaints from me on Hope You Do. This is such a masterful track. Number 9.
I wish I could forget you. Wouldn't that be nice? But I'm reminded of the wrong they couldn't right. You see your feet. Girl, we should have been right. I'm going left, I'm trying to pick me up. Hey, girl, it's like it's a chase. Yeah, oh, girl, you've been giving me hell. You know you said it yourself, that I would find the world of love. Now here I am. Baby, if I could get you above my head, maybe for a second.
Bro, just listen.
Baby, if I could get you above my head, maybe for a second. I just can't get over you. Chasing my tail like a fool. You got me going right around, right around, right around. Chasing down your love.
Round, I'm going nowhere. Bro, Nowhere is actually one of the best vocal performances Chris has throughout the entire. It's just so raw and intimate in the way it's produced, and I actually feel like I'm experiencing something. Like, his performance on this track is just simply phenomenal. This is another 10 out of 10 track. The writing is superb. The beat, it almost has an old school, probably like a Tyrese, something that I think it actually reminds me of something from either Joe or Tyrese. And then to top it off, bro, this track is just phenomenal. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, I have zero complaints about Nowhere. It's such a great track. Moving on. This one might be another wild card. Like, some of y'all probably wasn't expecting this, but it's just good traditional sounding R&B.
Girl, it just don't feel the same. Wish I could go back in time. Seems like every time I say your name, I just wanna press rewind. You say you just want me back.
That's a preacher right there.
And I know that you want me to stay. You said if I love you, I would. If we look at how we live, it's no good. Baby, it's no good, no good. I know you know I'm right. 'Cause we're just fucking, baby. This ain't loving, baby. We're just fucking, baby. This ain't loving, baby.
Bro, the way how the loving, yeah, so good.
No, for you, for one. I ain't you, my girl, I'm only your friend. Body lay down. You should have.
Bro, I just think it's also so funny how Chris does so much of these, yeah, on this album. It's so fun, but it does add characters to the whole project as a whole. So it's really good. I just love this song. It has some dope runs. It sounds old school R&B in the way he sings it. He does approach the song in his lower chest voice for portions of the verses, which I do admire from Chris. A 9 out of 10 track. Track 7. Grass and Greener. Again, this is such a dope production right here.
You ain't the girl that you used to be. You say you're done, you're moving on. This ain't the world that it used to be. Looks like you won. A true lover, but when I'm not there, girl, you have somebody that really cares. Never be the boys not fair. You used to be the one to talk to on the side, waiting for my love to break up. See how you walk through every night, acting like you've been a player. That grass ain't greener on the other side. Oh yeah, that grass ain't
Doom, 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 doom. Such a dope production.
greener on the other side. Oh yeah, seems like ain't nothing cool about me.
Again, Grass and Greener. This is a 10 out of 10, and it's actually my favorite single from off the album. I just love this track, and it took me such a long time after the track was initially released for me to realize that this is pretty much Chris calling out his side piece, and that's such a funny concept, yo. Dude is literally singing a breakup song to his side piece. That's so funny. So yeah, but yeah, the pre-chorus on this is top notch. You used to be the one to talk. It's such a well done pre-chorus, and the beat it's an R&B track, but it has an underlying trap beat to it, and it works phenomenally in my opinion. Like it works really well, and that bass line it's been present in quite a number of R&B tracks, but Grass and Greener is a standout where it goes doom 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 doom. I think Cardi B also had it in her song Ring with Kelani. Moving on to track 6. I think this one should be in everyone's top 10. I don't think this is a controversial pick at all. Bro, I should have had a thing where I took a shot every time Chris does a yeah. But yeah, continue.
Wait a second, wait a minute. Don't compare me to the mother. Desert Eagle, Smith & Wesson. I'm about to go to war, gon' pledge allegiance. Where the real friends at when you really need them? When I was locked up in the county, I ain't even see them. About my lonely. What happened to the kid and the body? I'm running battles, that was every
I
week.
think this might actually be his realest track based on addressing aspects of his life and also how the industry affects him and how he views the industry. Yeah, so it's dope. It's dope already the way how he's almost playing off his life and the industry as war, talking about guns and the Desert Eagles, Smith and Wesson, and this is him going to war. Yeah, so that's dope. Talking about his friends potentially being fake or not checking for him while he's down, which is something that happens to most people at some point in their lives. So
Probably been my crib like a coliseum. After 3
that's a flex
a.m.,
right
you
there.
know we getting freaky.
Calling his
Hella
crib a
one night
coliseum.
stand, catching feelings. Tired of fake loving, fake Hollywood ain't about you. Fake gang banging and claiming it's pop shit. Fake
titties of cocaine.
many nostrils, stop it. So been about it. And if it's my time to go, I'm taking everybody. Don't care, my be shooting anybody. And if it ain't your business, don't worry about it. I hear him talking down on me, down on me. Well, where they at tonight? Got 100 rounds on me. I think I had it up to here, mine. You know your killers, they feel mine. So what you tryna do? Tryna do? Dance around the issue. You know you running out of moves.
That's such a bar. You dance around the issue, but you know you're running out of moves. That's such a dope bar.
Be real, man. It's just your meal, hella clear, cause a meal on mine. Yeah, give a fuck about how you feel, man. Got the mic like a horror movie, feel like Thriller.
That's also another dope bar. Got a mic like a horror movie, feel like Thriller. That's such a dope bar. Playing off the Halloween theme, Michael Jackson feels like Thriller, but also a thriller. That's such a dope bar.
Aggressive, always acting all timid. Won't help you make no money, but I bet they help you spend it. Had a meeting with the devil last week. Couldn't believe what he said to me. Hey, take this contract signature, please. You can have it all, but you know your soul, I'ma keep Bella. Yeah, you know it coming threes. Battling my demons, I'm the only one to see. I got the fire blazing, burning all over. Let the hair like hotter than this Hennessy, yeah. 2 feet off the ground. Like, why am I living here? Up and down, up and down. I think I'ma drown from my tears. I cry. Cause my fate is cold. Too many tears. I'm thinking about ending here. Wonderful kid, Russian roulette with the pistol. Bang, 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 till it's holiday.
Bro, this nigga's cold, yo. I've never heard a nigga sing a police siren before. Dude was like, wheel. Bro, that nigga's so cold, bro.
Russian roulette with the pistol. Bang, 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 till it's holiday. Bang, 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 till it's holiday. Bang, bang, till it's holiday. Don't shoot.
Chris really got in some heavy stuff on this track. He addresses potentially wanting to off himself with lines like 2 feet off the ground, why am I living here? Up and down, up and down. I think I might drown from my tears. I've cried so many. So yeah, that's some heavy stuff. But he also talks about, has lines like, he had a conversation with the devil last week. I think this was a very problematic line. Well, it was very controversial because everyone, as soon as you hear that, you think, oh, Illuminati, or, you know? And sure, you could interpret it as that, but that's also a pretty lazy way of interpreting lyrics, in my opinion. So I think he's villainizing his life or the industry that he's been a part of, and he's referring to the industry itself as the devil. Couldn't believe what he said to me. Take this contract, signature, please. You can have it all, but your soul I'ma keep. He's pretty much, yes, it's still the old idea of selling your soul, but it might not be in the literal sense. It may be from a figurative way of saying, like, sure, it seems from the outside, it seems like he currently has it all, but deep down, he's going through stuff that potentially has made him want to off himself in the past. So, really dope track. 10 out of 10 from me, from this. He presents a lot of interesting ideas, has some dope ass bars, and him singing the siren will always be a plus for me. It's entitled Even. Yo, that kick is so heavy.
Even now, even now. It's funny how everything seems to even now, even now. I wish you could put it behind you. Wish you would put up your blinders. Wish you would stop listening to your friends. Come so and no one will find us. Wish you would just keep your focus on me, so I can give you a reminder that I can be who I'm supposed to. I can do better, I know you remember every single night.
Yo, this beat is so dope. Like, it's such a simplistic beat. When you hear it, like, there's not much going on. It's like a build, but it never amounts to anything beyond the build. But it's just so dope. The way how that heavy ass bass almost sounds like a pounding heartbeat at times. Dope.
Live my life in love. Every single time I was doing right enough to keep you around. Now look at where I end up. Look where I end up. Remember the time when we fell in love? 'Cause I remember the night. I know you had enough of my creeping, baby. It was only for a season, maybe. And it ain't even really had nothing to do with you. It was all really me. 'Cause I was trying to see the world like a dog on a leash. And you was trying to hold me back. I ain't wanna let you go ahead of me. I let you go. And I knew I should've never let you go ahead of me.
Such a dope ass ballad. This is one of my favorite ballads of the album. It's not a track that I frequent very often, but every time I do listen to it, I have to appreciate the mastery of a track like this is. I do like the sample from the Remember the Time from Michael Jackson. That's such a dope addition coming from Chris. Remember the Time is actually one of my favorite tracks from Michael, so y'all know the first time I heard this, like, I was mind blown by it, like, I was getting hyped. So yeah, it's a dope track. Bro, also one of his best vocal performances. Had to include this.
Hold on to me tight.
So it's like two chords. It's like a F sharp major and a C sharp major.
That's alright. Alright. There's a leak
Back to that F sharp.
So on the verge of caving in.
Now he switches.
But I'm prepared if it breaks, baby.
That's like what, a barcode?
So whenever you feel it coming, don't fight. Yeah. Never been scared to get
I like the zoom
no
there.
umbrella you can rain on. Drink with you.
I just think that's funny, but it's also dope. No umbrella, you can rain all night. So that's pretty decent lyricism coming from Chris. He could have been a lot more vulgar with what he was saying there, but I do like the run he does after. So it's a run that descends, so you get the idea of descent, but also rain. So I think that's just a dope little detail right there.
Your body. By the time you finish, baby, I'll be covered in you. Covered in you. You know we'll be through, 'cause I'll be covered in you. Yeah. Covered in you. You wanna be covered. Covered in you. In your love, baby.
Bro,
Covered in you.
that note he does, bro. I can't even do it, but the way he descends in that with that run from his falsetto to his actual chest voice, that's so clean, yo. Like, that's actually pretty impressive. So as I was saying, it's one of his best vocal performances, also on the album, and that comes in at number 4 for me. Going into the top 3 now. What to do first? Okay. I think I'm at number 3 will be self-titled track. I have every reason to love this track. Well, I said Chris Turley's album was just doing some funny ass shit with his dude is essentially burping over this beat. But it's dope.
Baby, Luna, why you doing what you do lately? I've been howling while the crescent's crowning,
I just want to make note of, I really love that line. I've been howling while the crescent's crowning, It's almost playing off the idea of a werewolf getting the heartbreak on a full moon. So I just think that's a dope line right there.
It's because you.
This is such a pretty chorus, yo. Okay, so I think there was just so many interesting ideas placed in this track. So we have this idea, constant idea of ascent and descent. So he starts with in his lower register. By the time he gets to the hook, he's going heartbreak, right? But then in the background, he's still doing the lower notes. So it's like a constant fight between highs and low. So you can think of it as like the high points in the relationship, but also the low that he's at now when he's at the heartbreak on the full moon, right? And then with the beat now, that guitar riff was going doo-doo, doo-doo, doo-doo. So it went down with the riff at first, then went doo-doo, doo-doo, doo-doo. So then it ascended again. So I just think that's a dope idea of constant highs and lows throughout the relationship. Such a dope element of the track. I really love the hook of this. The verses are dope, don't get me wrong, but the hook of this is just superb. And then the instrumentation, we have a live sounding drum. That guitar sounds like it was played over. Yeah, it's just such a dope thing. It's a dope production.
Lady, I done told you, show you spark you lost slow. Don't go, stay here, don't go, till the sun comes, I need you. Heartbreak, ooh, you, baby, you, baby,
I feel like when I first heard the track, I was like, this is actually a good R&B track, but it's not a track that I would repeatedly play. And then for some reason, I happened to click on, I think it was Everyday Struggle. And Joe Budden was apologizing to Chris about this track. And he kept singing it every minute. And from there, I just got really, I don't know, like, the fact that he was repeatedly singing the hook of this track just made me love the track even more.
Sometimes I get sentimental, and I get all in my head. I get caught up in my feelings and regret the It's not magic. Baby, there's no secret to love. We used to have it, but I just didn't fight hard enough. Hold on to you now, yeah. Still keep thinking about the way you look. It's not magic. Baby, there's no secret to love. No, we used to have it, but I just didn't fight hard enough. Hold on to you now.
I think by now some of you would have guessed what the number one track is. Or maybe this is a total curveball and unexpected. But this is a track that I think is the best track of the album, without a doubt, in my mind. Already I'm getting goosebumps from the way that like this guitar riff is being played.
Tired of the conversations, questions about every time I leave the house. When I'm in or when I'm out, girlfriend say I treat you foul, but I don't know. At the end of the day, know yourself.
At the end of the day, bro, the way this, I don't know how to explain it, but the way this verse is written, it's just so clever. Tired of the conversations, questions about every time you leave the house, when I'm in or when I'm out. Girlfriend say I treat you foul, but I don't know. I just think the way like he's rambling, it doesn't actually sound like a fully structured verse. It just sounds like he's actually rambling and just getting things off his chest all at once. I just think it's so dope. It really captures the essence of what this track is about.
And I'm tired of the times when you run your mouth, time's only running out. Baby, you made me take a vow. Stop your whining, sum it up. Where are we now? At the end of the day, you know yourself. Can't hear when you're talking loud. Oh, you do the most. Shh, it's getting old. We both said enough. Went through this more than once, but
Bro, that's such a dope line. These are the reasons. I'm really going to try to make sure I give you all the reasons why this track is number one. That line about can't hear when you're talking loud is so clever. It's so ironic but so clever.
my GPS broke. Don't know where to go. Every time I'm lost, I'm found. This is not the lost and found. Whose time are you wasting now? Cause every time I'm lost and found. Yeah. Oh, tell me who's losing now. Cause you say it's the end and playing games again. I found. Playing games again. I found. Yeah. Playing games again. I found. Baby, you were the one that I could trust the most. Used to think you were beautiful till you would drink too many toasts. What would your mama say if? Girl, you drunk out your mind. Oh my God, get the brand. Take it right with the wine. Rude awakening. Lord, don't save her. She thinks she a big girl. Think she gon' die for the players. Think she gon' be ballin', yeah. But nah, 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 nah. I done worked too hard for these cars and
Boy,
these
you better
cash.
preach.
Nah, 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 nah. Selling your soul, might as well be selling your. No, no, no. Stop kidding, girl. You know yourself.
Bro, that verse, that entire second verse, he just snapped. He was getting into some heavy stuff, but just the way he sang it, he sounded like he was in church, yo, like he was preaching to this girl. Like, it was just phenomenal.
I like the murderers on the move, just running me. This ain't a lost and found, girl, you're out of bounds. Take a lot of money, make a booty bounce. If you're taking shots, better make it count. The girl don't do nothing but free. Shawty want the money back. She doing all over the internet. Dollars on the money at. But you run it up and say, stealing weed about my duffel bag. Only the birthday go back. Baby girl, don't try to go there. You already know that. Every time I'm lost, I'm found. Oh, 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 oh. Every time. This is not the lost and found. Yeah. Whose time are you wasting now?
That last note he hit, though, yeah. Now, if I missed any of your favorites, or if your list differs from mine, I did say I would just do a quick run through to tell you my thoughts on the various tracks from 1 through to 45 that didn't make my cut, and I'll give you a quick sentence on how I feel about it. So, as you know, Lost and Found, amazing for me. Privacy was overtly explicit. I do think the line about Boom Shakalaka is funny, and I do like the title skirt sample. As it is, I think it works as a single, but I think it should have been a one-off explicit song and throw the album. And since then, I feel like he's been trying to recreate what Privacy was, and I think as it is in itself, it's not a bad track. I know people love Privacy, and I can understand why. Juicy Booty, it's a fun retro R&B track. I think both features, being Jhené and Robert, actually does well on the track. I have no complaints from it. It's just not one of my favorite tracks. Questions is a dope sample interpolating the Caribbean track Turn Me On. It's a short song, but as it is, it's actually a good track. And I'm actually happy that this was a single. Y'all know how I feel about Heartbreak on a Fullmoon. Roses is a mess. I can see the artistic vision that Roses should have been, but as it is, instead of coming off as artistic, it just sounds like a whole bunch of noise. I'm not a big fan of Roses, but I do listen to it every now and then. But it's one of the weaker tracks on the album. Confidence is easy to listen Caribbean pop. It's not that great, but it's not that special, but it's not bad by any regard. Rock Your Body is actually a dope song. It's almost like a dancehall track, and I think he has some great lines on this, like "Take you back to my space like a typo." I just think that's such a clever line. I don't think I've ever heard that line before. So yeah, that's dope. Tell me how to reach like a high note. Yeah, those little things. I think he was actually trying to DJ, so that was dope. And I do like the more. So it's like dancehall verses, which is like a pop chop in the hook. So that's dope. Tempo is actually a dope track, and I'm glad that this was a single. It has a dope video, and I think the tempo switches throughout the track works. It could have made my list, but sadly it didn't. That's fine. Handle It is one of the worst tracks on the album. I don't have anything against Lil Yachty or Dejalo. I just think that, and I actually do listen to Handle It. Can you handle it? But when you go deeper and realize the lyrics are just so basic, and then it's a 4 minute and 41 second track. I just think if it was 2 minutes and they cut it down, it could have worked. Sip, it's actually dope. Sip has a dope cadence. And my baby's coming over. We don't even need no foreplay. Shout out, nigga, you ain't playing. I ain't with it. Shit. Da, da, da. Yeah, Sip is actually good. It's a good bedroom playlist track. No complaints there. Everybody knows could have made my honorable mention list, but instead I put in Head the Same. And I don't think y'all can really argue with that. I think these tracks are just the same coin but different sides. Well, not even different sides. They're just identical coins with different sounds, and I just chose one. But they could easily interswitch. Y'all know how I feel about, track 13 is To My Bed. To My Bed is actually really dope. Has some dope lines like, my clock is watching, ain't no time to waste, and stuff like that. It's a dope track. I do like the nice and slow interpolation. Didn't make my top 10, but that's okay. I actually do like To My Bed. I think he had some dope vocals, and he sounded a little aggressive, like there were some growls on there, so that's dope. Hope you do. Y'all know how I feel about that. This ain't. Y'all know how I feel about that. Pull Up is fun. Pull Up is like a demo version of Tempo, but it just feels more intoxicated. So Pull Up is actually dope. He shouts out all the baddies, the Asians, the Africans, and so forth. For all the people who will be saying he don't like dark skinned women and stuff. This was 2017, yo. He was shouting them out. and even before that, but not to get into that. Continuing, we have Party. I like Party, especially the music video. It's really dope, and I think Chris and Usher work good together. And Gucci does do well on his rap verse, so no complaints here. Party is not such a great track on its own, but coupled with the video, I just can't complain. It's good. It's really good. Sensei might be the worst track on the album. I think Sensei was just a excuse for Chris to sing the word Sensei in a track. But it's not like awfully bad, but it's just super generic. With A1 on it, yeah, very forgettable. Summer Breeze. Summer Breeze, I enjoy Summer Breeze on certain days. On certain days, it's really good. Well, no. On certain days, it's good. On others, it's just meh. Running through my hair, you're like a summer breeze. Summer Breeze, I think one of the reasons why it would definitely make my top 10 is because it kind of threads the line of some other tracks on here, like Hurt the Same, Other Niggas, and so forth. Like, it has that heavier hip-hop sounding with him singing over it. So, yeah. It just bleeds into other tracks, so that's my reasoning for Summer Breeze. No Exit has a really dope guitar riff. It does sound like a little extra possessive at certain points, like you can't escape this, like we're in this forever. It depends on how you want to look at it. You can look at it as, oh, super romantic, or you can look at it as it, like, you ain't going nowhere, like, and that's fine. So, however you want to look at it. It's actually a dope track. I do like some of the vocal effects on his voice throughout this track. It doesn't make my top 10, but pretty decent track. Pills and Automobiles. The first time I heard this, gosh, I thought it was awful. Like, why was this dude singing wet, wet over and over again? I just could not get it. And then the features were just not doing it for me. But by the time the video rolled out, I was fully tuned into what Pills and Automobiles was. It was just so dope. So I have no complaints. So as a track, it's not that good, but coupled with the music video, it's very likable. And I actually replay this a lot just for the dance moves and so forth in that water park. So yeah, y'all know how I feel about Her the Same. Pretty good. I love her. I actually like this track. I think it's dope. It's a lot of more, it's a little more also Caribbean, like it has a dope popish piano with quite a number of chords. I think it has like 7-8 chords, which is pretty impressive. Even I have trouble playing this track. That I've actually attempted to learn the progression a couple times, but I keep messing up. So it's actually dope. You like almost made my honorable mention. Girl, I want you to be you. Loving it ain't too hard to do. So yeah, I like You Like. I think it's good. Nowhere is excellent. Other Niggas, it's kind of funny, but beyond that, I don't think it needed to be a track on this album. Definitely one of the fillers. Tough Love, amazing. Paradise, it's alright. Kind of forgettable when you check it out. He has a 2016 track, Paradise with Benassi, I think. That's a lot better. That's a much better track. Covered in You, amazing. Even, really good. High End, forgettable. Yeah, High End is pretty forgettable. On Me, very much forgettable. I'm not a fan of the track. Tell Me What to Do. I do like the saxophone on this track. I actually do like the saxophone on Tell Me What to Do. And it's kind of a standard old school R&B track. He gets overtly sexual in certain parts. And it's kind of slightly offbeat, but it works. So, yeah. I have mixed feelings on what Tell Me What to Do is. Frustrated is more of a pop track. It's a good pop track, but it's not really what I want from Chris. Enemy, she was just one night. Enemy is good. If You're Down is really good. If You're Down is really, really good. Might be my favorite pop track on here. Hold on, along with Bite My Tongue. Bite My Tongue is another good pop track with a whole bunch of instrumentation. Anyways, amazing. This Way ended up making mentions. Yellow Tape, y'all know how I feel about that. Ready Whip, Ready Whip is actually pretty good. I can't even lie. Like, it's really good. It's above average good. Hangover, pretty forgettable. I don't really listen to Hangover. Emotions. The thing with Emotions is, at the time, I really liked what the track was, but as the years progress, I've listened to it fewer and fewer times. Maybe the counting in it just does not cut it for me. It's just such an outdated idea of counting up and down in a track. I guess that's what it is. Only for me, it's just a club track, and I think Chris has a good verse. I think Ty Dolla $ign and Versimans is also on the track. It's okay, but could have definitely been left off. And Grass and Greener is also a really great track. It could have been a 15-track album and it would have been arguably one of his best albums. But being a 45-track album with a 45-track album that could have easily been divided into three halves, well, into three thirds, really takes you out of the experience if you're just trying to hear a Chris Brown album. But if you go into Heartbreak and a Fullmoon with the mindset that, hey, this is a Chris Brown playlist with an album hidden in between, you will be gravely satisfied with what Heartbreak and a Fullmoon offers. Because there is definitely a solid album within this, but it's just a lot to get through for a casual listener. So if I was to suggest tracks on this album, the tracks that I played are the ones that I would say, oh, these are the best of the bunch, and these are the best representation of what the album Heartbreak on a Fullmoon is supposed to be, minus the fillers and the over the explicit sex songs and the beats that kind of bleed into each other. So yeah, overall I give this album a 7 out of 10 for a 45 track album, because there are only a few tracks on here that are actually bad. I think 40 of them are actually good tracks, and then 15 of them are excellent tracks, and then you have some okay tracks for the rest. So yeah, it's a really good listen. Heartbreak on a Fullmoon, as much of a roller coaster as it is, I think this album was very much a pioneer in artists making longer formats of music and releasing it to their fans. I think ever since Heartbreak on a Fullmoon, the frequency of major artists putting out double disc albums or longer, over 20 plus track albums have increased a lot, and I don't think Chris gets any credit for that. People won't credit him, but I think he was actually the first massive artist to actually go out there and say, okay, it's not just gonna be a quality, but a limited quantity. It's going to be a lot of quantity and quite a lot of quality sprinkled in between. So I just think he deserves some credit, and the album deserves some praise on that end. So I might boost it up to a 7.5 out of 10 overall, because I think that's a very important thing of note. The album actually had cultural or music impact on the wider scope of artists and so forth. So that's a plus.